Hi guys, it's Ben here. Welcome back to another Scared Equine video blog. In today's video blog, I'm going to be talking about authentic boundary setting. I think this is such an important part of feeling like you're, living your values and being true to yourself, because so oftentimes what happens for people is because of a lack of boundaries, we end up, having so many things on our plate that aren't really the things that are in alignment with our true values, the things that are most important to us. So whatever we spend our time doing, especially the bulk of our time in our day doing, that is not high up on our values, that's not really important to us, by definition, we are not living in alignment with what is authentic and real for us. Because we have to be able to understand that in order to be authentic and to live our values, we have to have clear, authentic boundaries. Now, what I mean by authentic boundaries is boundaries that we're able to set with a calm but assertive state of mind, and without our emotions overwhelming us and taking control and taking over the show. Because as soon as our emotions take over the show and they overwhelm us, we aren't able to be clear in our communication to that other person. We can't be concise in how we communicate, and we can't maintain our ability to think on our feet and all those different things. So when we set an authentic boundary, we are doing it from this place of being congruent as well. Congruent means being true to our values, but also it means when our inside matches our outside. So if we're incongruent, that means if we're setting a boundary, but we're inside, we're really fearful, or we're really angry, or that means that our non-verbal message that we're communicating to that person is not aligned with the boundary we're trying to set. Especially if we're trying to be calm, but underneath we're feeling a massive well of anger rising up, which is often very common with boundaries. It's easy to get overwhelmed by all of the different emotions that can come up: frustration, anger, fear, all sorts of different things. And so an authentic boundary is one where we're not run by those emotions. We're able to harness our energy in a calm way and communicate and stay connected to ourselves. And then at the same time, we're able to be compassionate with that person. And so, again, boundaries, authentic boundaries, are there to protect your values and needs as a human being, so that you can have a more functional life and you can live a more fulfilled life. And for me, this has been it's still a work in progress, but there's some things that I found, that I'm going to share with you that have really helped me in my ability to communicate with the people in my life and to set these authentic boundaries. And the first thing is you have to establish your boundary needs. Okay, so we have certain needs, that obviously aren't being met. When a boundary is being crossed by somebody, there are certain boundary needs that aren't being met, and certain values that maybe aren't being met. And so we have to understand what are those boundary needs that we need to consider that are being crossed for us, that aren't being met. And once we can understand what those boundary needs are, we have a much greater possibility of being able to get clear on where we might be blocked. And so again, the second step is to look at where we have an emotional block, whether it be in a belief system or some sort of emotion that's blocking us from being able to communicate effectively what we need to communicate to that person. And again, this is really important, because if we don't know where that block is, and it's an unconscious belief that's running us and all these types of things, it's very hard for us to be able to communicate that boundary and be clear in our authentic boundary setting. So I want you to think about, when you're blocked with setting a boundary, and when you find that your emotions get really overwhelmed, what belief is running that behavior? What emotion overwhelms you, and what stories are you running in your mind that are preventing you from being able to stay connected to who you are? So the third step is, once you have worked on establishing your authentic boundary needs, and you looked at where that block is, and you've addressed that block, the belief or the emotions, and you've been able to work through that, the last and final step is to communicate that boundary to that person. Again, this is where what I like to do is I like to write down a script, you know, and that sounds kind of silly, but it's true. If you write a script to set a boundary, and sometimes you can even practice this script, it allows you to do it enough until your emotions aren't so strong. You don't feel them so intensely, and it allows you to have, you know, gain control and composure and be more calm. And then when you go to actually set the boundary with a person, you're in a much better emotional state, you know, much clearer, much more connected, congruent, you know, aligned with who you are, all those things. And so when you set that boundary and you communicate to that person, you're able to be more compassionate, calm, and they will feel that, they will sense that, and it has a certain power to it. You know, I can't quite describe it, but when you do it from that place, it has a very different effect. Now, I'm not saying that everyone, you know, is going to be a great listener or anything like that, but the point is that you're able to set the boundary from a place of being calm and authentic, and you're able to, you know, maintain your dignity and your authenticity in that process, and that's what is most important about setting boundaries. So just to run through that again, one is to establish your boundary needs. What are my boundary needs with this person? What boundaries have they crossed, mental, emotional, or physical? What boundaries do I need to protect that are my values and the things that are important to me? And what emotions, which is the next step, step two, which is looking at where the block is, the authenticity block is, what emotions or belief systems are blocking me from being able to communicate that boundary with a calm, assertive manner and a compassionate manner where I'm staying connected to myself. And number three is communicate the boundary. Write the script, rehearse if necessary, find a good friend and rehearse that boundary setting with that person, so that when you go to do it with the person that you need to set the boundary with, you're able to be more calm, connected, you know, assured. And when you are that way, it'll be received differently. I can guarantee it. So I hope that gives you some ideas. Please like and share this video. I'd love to have as many people that could benefit from this to hear about it. So please like and share it. And please share your own ideas and your own experiences with boundaries and authentic boundary setting and the things that have helped you. I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.